Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and it's time for Saturday Morning Blast Off. Welcome, everybody. Before I get started here, I'm going to take a little time out and do a little bit of business first, as usual. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, at the very end of this video, you're going to see a video pop up here. Basically, what YouTube does takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible. One of the videos, my vast video library, and pops it up there just for you. So if you like it there, hit the subscribe button down there. Also, up here is going to be the season finale of Doom Patrol, season 2. Excuse me, season 5. Wow, I've been to the future before, so I know what's happening. Also, if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule there. I put it up every week when I remember to do it on Monday. And I also have the links to all my social media. So Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon. No tier subsidy on the Patreon. And also I have the links to this YouTube page, my Facebook page, and a Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. All right, let's get to what's going on this week, or what was going on this week, I should say. We're going to start with the big news here. So, Disney Plus, or Disney, I should say, has decided that their live action Mulan movie, the one that costs many, many, many millions of dollars, is going to Disney Plus. It's not going to theaters. It's going to Disney Plus. And for those people who have Disney Plus, it's an extra $30, I believe is what it is. And you will have a version of Mulan as long as Disney Plus, as long as you have a Disney Plus subscription. Or you could just wait until it becomes free on Disney Plus and watch it that way. Either way, but yeah, that's what they're doing, and theaters are pissed off, especially theaters in Europe. So theaters in Europe are, reopening. Of course, it's a slow go at the moment, and they're understandably pissed off at Disney for doing this. It's also it's a big move on their part because they have been. Oh, hey Jay Hicks, how's it going? It's been estimated they've lost around $8 billion so far since the pandemic has started. Of course, because they have Disneyland, Disney World, they have all the Disney parks. What is it, like 5, 6 different theme parks around the world, and only I think 4 of them are open. So yeah, they are losing a shit ton of money. Plus, their movies, are going direct to video, that kind of thing. So they aren't making that much money. So is this a desperation move on Disney's part? No, I think this is more of a testing of the waters to see how. It was never guaranteed that Mulan was going to do a bunch of money. Aladdin didn't do a bunch of money when it came out, the live action version of that. It made money, but it didn't make, like Marvel money. Neither did, the live action Lady of the Tramp, which is why it went directly to video on Disney Plus instead of coming out to theaters. So I think this is their testing of this to see if one of their big budget movies can actually make them money on their streaming service without having to go to VOD. So yeah, and having to pay someone, of course, to stream that for them. Hey, Stanley. And I believe it's a big experiment is what this is. And also them, desperately needing to get some cash flow in as well to stem the tide of all that stuff that's going on. Hey, Diane K. What's this about Orville not coming back? Well, that's a perfect segue, Diane. Thank you. That's actually lovely. So yeah, the Orville season 3 on Hulu is its last, because they have not been renewed for a season 4, and they have not. Excuse me here, I'm getting a phone call. I have no phone lines open, by the way. So yeah, I am just knocking that one down. There we go. So yes, season 4 wasn't even planned supposedly, and not only that, Seth MacFarlane is moving over to Peacock anyway. He knew the writing was on the wall. All his friends at Fox are gone because they got fired when Disney took over. They really did. Season 3 was already in production at the time when Disney took over Fox. They were not big fans of Seth MacFarlane to begin with. So yeah, he's gone out of there. Stanley Trail says, I'm sad to hear this, even if Dennis does not care. I really don't, quite honestly, Stanley, but I know there's people that do. Yeah, we won't get we won't get a fart episode, an entire episode made up of nothing but farts. Kind of like we had the piss episode where it was nothing but piss jokes. So yes, I'm disappointed in that. Well, I don't know, maybe season 3, maybe they have an entire fart section in there. It could be because it is Seth MacFarlane. So you never know. Yeah. So season 3 on Orville is its last. No season 4. And like I said, there was no indication that Seth MacFarlane had even planned for a season 4 anyway. So depends on the farts. What Stanley says. Yeah. No, I don't think so. Oh, Stanley. So going back to Mulan, yes, it's going to cost $30 not to just watch it once. You own it as long as you have Disney Plus as a subscription. So you can watch it as many times as you want. Again, like I said, eventually it's going to be free on Disney Plus to watch. So I'm in no rush to watch it. I haven't watched the live action Aladdin, which is free now on Disney Plus, because quite honestly, I don't want to. I'm tired of remakes of remakes. So I'm really am tired of that kind of stuff. And especially of animated movies. I love animated movies. I don't see a reason why you should actually remake an animated movie into a live action movie. You can go the opposite direction, of course. You can make a live action movie into an animated movie, because you can actually get more stuff happening in animation than you can in live action sometimes. So yeah. And this also happens on September 4th is when they're releasing that Mulan. Yeah. So you can pay eternally to own it. Yeah, you can. Or if you're like me and you just paid the annual, I paid 3 years up front, I think is what it was. I got 1 year for free, or actually a year and a half for basically I got half off for 3 years. So I'm not really, worried about it at that point. I'll probably end up renewing. There's a lot of stuff on Disney Plus. There really is. I just went back and started looking through it and started watching some stuff again on there. I have multiple, streaming services, of course, and that just happens to be one of them. Hey, Mark Maginot, how's it going? Haven't seen you in a while. So another reboot, I guess you could say, or blast from the past, something like that. James Wan's production company, Atomic Monster, is working on a Knight Rider movie. Yes, you heard that right. Kit is coming back as a movie. Now, James Wan is involved, and James Wan has done horror, and I would love to see a Knight Rider horror movie. Have a zombie Hasselhoff, or do a Maximum Overdrive where Kit is killing people. And he's infecting other cars and stuff like that on the road and making them sentient, and they are killing other people as well. And it's a robot uprising is what it is. And you can make it into, if they can make the Banana Splits into a fucking horror movie, they can make Knight Rider into a horror movie. That news does not activate your turbo boost. Good, Stanley. That's a good one, I have to admit. Yeah. So, of course, Hasselhoff's gonna have a little cameo in that one, or more. They're gonna pay him in cheeseburgers though, too. That's a deep cut reference. Yours either, Jay Hicks, doesn't activate your turbo boost either. So this one I'm actually kind of disappointed about. Noah Hawley of course, Legion. Uh, he was getting ready to do a Star Trek movie reboot. So we were going to move away from the fucking J.J. Abrams Kelvin verse or whatever it was. And Noah Hawley actually had a script. He was getting ready to do a Star Trek reboot movie, and now it's been moved to the back burner by Paramount, supposedly. Why? Most likely because they're having money problems, is the reason why. So Emma Watt, who is leading Paramount at the moment, is she's the new film chief over at Paramount, by the way. And she managed, of course, a lot of stuff over at Fox. Is they're kind of trying to figure out which way to go right now, and that was one of the things that they kind of sidetracked. I'm kind of disappointed by this, really. I love no. I finally got around to actually seeing Lucy in the Sky that he did, and while it's not fantastic, it's not bad either. It's a different kind of movie based on, loosely based on some true events. Hey, everybody. Oh, wow, it's all good news today is what Mork says. No, there's some news that's better than others. There's actually a lot of news this week, believe it or not. There's a shit ton of news this week compared to everything else, especially during Comic-Con when there was a whole bunch of, you know, ways of actually bringing new news, and of course they brought news from like 5 months ago. Yeah. So, yeah, not really interesting at that point. Uh, Mark, I will be talking about that in a moment here. So, Ren and Stimpy. Yes, Ren and Stimpy is coming back. They're being brought back to life by Comedy Central. They've been greenlit for a new series at Comedy Central. And you're going to say, what the fuck? Ren and Stimpy from the 90s? What? I really don't know if this is a good idea or not, because yeah, idea or not, because of all the new well, yeah, within the last 2 years, John Wick's Folly. So there's, I don't know if anyone's heard, but there's huge shakeups going on across multiple industries of sexual predators, grooming of underage girls, that kind of thing. And there's a lot of people that are being caught up in it right now because there's fucking scumbags. And John Wick's Folly is one of them right now. He is in the last 2 years, this has been brought to light, and yeah, so I don't know how a Ren and Stimpy reboot is going to look, considering that all this is starting to come forward now at this point. And his name is intertwined with Ren and Stimpy. So I mean, he was the creator of it. It's, I don't know. Yeah. Mork says, how long will they last? They weren't the most PC show. No, Ren and Stimpy was not a PC show. It was more, so this was born out of Spike and Mike's Festival of Sick and Twisted Animation. For those of you kids out there who don't know what the fuck that was, this was a traveling animated festival that went from city to city. And it started in the 80s, late 80s, and went into the 2000s. And Spike and Mike were these two guys that would, a lot of animators got their start from this. A ton of animators got their start from this. And it was the most un-PC shit that you would ever see animated. It was funny as hell. And usually there were midnight showings, things like that. Ren and Stimpy was a big part of that. Beavis and Butthead was also a big part of that as well. That is where they got their starts. And yes, I agree with you, Marks. It was not a PC show, and it got banned quite a bit on a lot of things, and uh, it pushed the envelope. It really did, and that's what you need on TV sometimes. Dante S says, I used to watch Ren and Stimpy with my dad. It was not for kids. No, it wasn't. It really wasn't for kids. So, yeah. A lot of news of shows dying is what Stanley says. No, they're not all dying. Just the Orville and Agents of Shield. September 3rd. Here's for you, Mark Maginot, excuse me. September 3rd, a Ridley Scott directed series called Raised by Wolves hits HBO Max. I saw the trailer. The trailer will be in the description, by the way. If you go down the description of this video, you're going to see the trailer down there, the link for the trailer down there. It looks interesting. Yes, I am going to cover it. Especially if it's a weekly series, that'll be awesome for me, considering there's not a lot of weekly series at the moment. I am not sold on this at the moment because it looks like a mishmash of a lot of Netflix movies that have come out recently, like Mother, some kind of alien invasion movie, Oblivion, and a couple others kind of scattered in there and then kind of mushed together and hit on frappe and then kind of poured out. But I'll go and watch it. Sure, why not? It's sci-fi. I'll give it a chance. Celebro 469 says, I wouldn't mind a resurrection of Aeon Flux. I believe that is coming. Celebro is, or Celebro. How do you want to pronounce your name is what I want to say. How do you want me to pronounce your name? Because I'm going to give you all kinds of different inflections on it. But yeah, the original Aeon Flux was awesome. And MTV had this thing called Liquid Television that was in the 90s. That came about also because of Spike and Mike's Festival of Sick and Twisted Animation. And Adult Swim on Cartoon Network also is a direct result of Spike and Mike as well. It spawned a lot of things that we have now. But one of my old film teachers, actually, she worked on Liquid Television back in the 90s with a lot of those people. However you say it is fine. Okay, thanks. Yeah, the MTV shorts were really awesome. Liquid Television, stick figure theater was one of my favorites, and I actually did that for one of my animation classes. I did stick figure theater. I did the baseball bat scene from The Untouchables, the Robert De Niro baseball bat scene, because it's funny in stick figure. It really is. It's hilarious in stick figure. But yeah, I learned a whole bunch of different things, how they did it from her because she knew the guys who did stick figure theater, and she told me how they actually did their backgrounds and everything. Yeah, the Max was actually an MTV series, complete series, not just shorts. Yeah, there's a lot of good animation that came out in the 90s, early 2000s that we'll never see again. It's like ever again. Although Netflix is trying. Netflix is really, really trying. They are ramping up. From what I'm seeing right now, job wise, they are ramping up a huge animation department. And if that's the case, say around 2022, 2023, Netflix is going to have even more animation than they have now. Don't be surprised if they spin it off onto something separately. That's just an animation channel altogether. There is another season of Love, Death, and Robots coming out. Stanley, it was announced last year, the end of last year, somewhere around there. I know I covered it at one point in time. I did. What else do I have here? Let's see. Yeah. Bill and Ted Face the Music. Bill and Ted 3. It's been moved up a week and it's now coming out on August 28th on, of course, video on demand, whatever theaters are open, and digital, I believe. I am going to buy it because I like the first two. I love the first one. The first one's my favorite. The second one, it's grown on me over the years. I'll watch the third one just to complete it out. Yeah. And also, it's got Keanu Reeves in it, so why the hell not? Keanu Reeves is just fun now, man. I mean, yeah, he got derided for a lot of stuff that he did in the 90s and even into the 2000s somewhat. But you know what? He's just a fucking fun actor. He really is. And from what I understand, just a fucking nice guy. And yes, I'm going to say fuck quite a bit because I fucking want to say fuck. So fuck you. Uh, a TV series based on Guillermo del Toro's movie Mimic is in the works by Paul W.S. Anderson. Now, if you don't know who Paul W.S. Anderson is, he's the guy who did the Resident Evil movies with Mila Jovovich and a couple other things too. He's got that new movie coming out based on the video game Monster World or something like that, or Monster Island, or I don't remember what it's called. It's got monsters in it, and they carry ridiculously big weapons, and Mila Jovovich is in that as well. So he wants to do a TV series based on Mimic, the movie. Now, if you don't know what Mimic is, Mira Sorvino was in this. It's about these, I guess, cockroaches, if you will, for lack of a better term, that have evolved and they are human size and they are actually abducting humans in sewers and whatnot and eating them. And they have evolved to mimic looking like people. So when you're in the dark and stuff like that, it looks like a human silhouette, and people are like, "Hey, who are you? What man?" And then they get grabbed and eaten. So it'll be totally accurate to the original, like Resident Evil. You know what? Say what you will, that first Resident Evil movie was pretty damn good. It was a good zombie movie. I liked it. I had a lot of fun with it. And you know what? He had a lot of fun making it. You could tell he actually had a lot of fun making it. And I don't know, go back and watch it and just look at it as a straight on zombie movie. Don't look at it as a video game movie or whatever video game it came from. Just look at it as the movie that it is. And it's actually a good movie. Monster Hunter. Thank you, Marks. Monster Hunter. That's what it's called. I knew there was monster in the title. You know, like monsters. That's a different movie altogether. Monsters. Yeah. Yeah. He was a little wooden in the early days. You talking about Max or what are you talking about, Stanley? Oh, you're talking about Keanu Reeves. That's what it was. Yeah, Keanu Reeves, his acting has grown. I mean, yeah, it has. Yeah. But he is the least of the Andersons. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything on that one. I don't have any jokes on that one. Sorry. Nia DaCosta, excuse me. She is the new, of course, the director of the new Candyman movie that's coming out, the one that um, Jordan Peele was producing there. She is going to be directing, or she has been tapped to direct the new Captain Marvel 2 movie. Um, I'm okay with that, but I fucking want Monica Rambeau in there. I want her as Captain Marvel. I still do. I have never liked Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel in the comics nor in the movies. It's always been Monica Rambeau for me. Rambeau. And I'm kind of hoping Nia brings Monica a little more forefront. She was in the first movie, yes, but it was kind of like an aside, if you will. I want more Monica in there, and I want Monica to become, or her daughter, even for that matter. Yeah. I mean, her daughter after the blip is supposed to be, now older. Well, actually, in the first Captain Marvel movie, what that was set in the 90s, so she is an adult now at that point, yes. Mark Maginot says in 18 days we're going to get Tenet in the theaters here in Switzerland. Yeah, and in 19 days we'll have it here on pirated. I mean, did I say that? Yeah. Man, you know what's going to happen. Huh. Philip A. Demick says Carol Danvers makes good food for Rogue. Yeah. Rouge. No, good food for Rouge? I know what you meant. Rogue, I know. Yeah. You know that's what's gonna happen, Mark. That shit's gonna get pirated pretty fast. So that kind of brings up another subject altogether about, you know, the pandemic, everything being shut down, and people not getting access to new movies, that kind of stuff. Yes, we're getting new TV series, and we get the occasional movie that's coming out on video on demand and whatnot. But yeah, these bigger movies that are supposed to be coming out, like Tenet and things like that, that are going to premiere first over in Europe, because Europe was actually able to, you know, do things like wear a fucking mask and stop the spread of the virus, um, and able to open up earlier because their numbers are down. Don't get me started on that. So that's why they get the movies first. But I think there's going to be a reverse of what normally happens. Normally, when stuff like that, you know, we get releases in the United States, people make copies, shall we say, and they end up in Europe and Asia. Or if it opens up in Asia, then, you know, it ends up all over the place. So, yeah. So you know it's going to happen. People are jonesing for new material, new movies, that kind of stuff, and I'm fairly sure that's what's going to happen with this one. Mark Magino says, "Not that I never watch movies that fall off the truck, but this normally only happens after it's on streaming or DVD somewhere." This one I think is going to be, yeah. I don't be surprised we get some shaky camera footage kind of stuff. Stanley Twill says maybe the Swiss version in English can be pirated for you in the US. In Germany. Oh, we get a German dub. Oh, really? They dub it over in German over in Germany? I didn't know that, Stanley. That's kind of interesting. I thought they just did the, you know, the straight on English version with German subtitles. I didn't realize they did that. Because it is, after all, a foreign film to you guys. Captain Marvel 2: The Rise of the Last Danvers. Nah. Captain Marvel 2: Cat Boogaloo. Flurg Boogaloo? Flugerloo. Furgaloo. There we go. Yeah. All movies are foreign movies, Stanley? Oh, no, all movies are, in German, they're dubbed in German? Yeah, Mark Magino says, "Oh, here in most good cinemas, you get, the English version." Okay, yeah. I kinda figured as much. I mean, in good theaters here too, you get it in the original language of whatever it is, and you have English subtitles. At least that's what Netflix is doing now too, which is awesome. You can That's what I kinda love about Netflix, is you can do the subtitles, you know, or you can do the dubbed version if they have it available, and just choose it in the menu, and you get the dubbed version. I've been watching on Netflix recently, what is it? Street Food, and it's, the Latino version, Latin America, and so it's all in Spanish, and my Spanish is really bad. If you think my English is bad, my Spanish is even worse, and, yeah, I don't remember a lot of my Spanish, but I was actually starting to follow along a bit in Spanish, and I'm reading the subtitles, I'm like, "That's not what they said." They said, you know, I'm like, "Oh, okay," and so, but the thing is, it's in Spanish, and they had English subtitles, and it's really badly, translated at some points. They try and make it sound more flowery or sometimes more compact, and actually what they're saying in Spanish is actually much more eloquent and beautiful than what they were saying in the English translation. Go figure. Anyway, you're not here for my critique of English subtitles on Netflix shows. So Sandra Bullock is producing a Netflix movie that is now being directed by Chris McKay, based on Mark Millar's comic Reborn. So Reborn is about an 80-year-old woman who dies and wakes up in a world in a different body, a younger body, and she finds her husband there and everything, where a battle for good versus evil is happening, and there's dragons and whatnot. Sound a little familiar? Kind of like Discworld or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, it sounded a little familiar to me too. That's why I was just like, you might have a lawsuit on your hand. I don't know. That might be. But yeah, that is coming out. But Sandra Bullock is producing it, and Chris McKay, of course, the Lego Movie, is directing that. Excuse me. Stanley says sometimes you cannot translate word by word. They also try to mimic the mouth movements a little. True, but what was going on, even with my limited Spanish, you know, I heard stuff and I'm like, they actually said the English translation would have actually been much more beautiful if they had done a direct translation of it instead of going kind of lazy going. For example, like they said, the food is delicious, flavorful, and and beautiful to the eye is what they say, in Spanish. And instead, the subtitle came out was the food was good. I shit you not. And I'm like, that's not what they. Okay, whatever. Yeah. So yeah, it's one of those things. It's like you kind of get some lazy translators, I guess, sometimes. Stanley Tweedle says, by the way, what happened to the Discworld Watch series? I have no idea. Wasn't Amazon supposed to be doing that? I thought Amazon was supposed to be doing that. Or maybe it was Apple TV Plus. No, it wasn't Apple TV Plus. I think they lost out on it. I want to say it's Amazon that was doing that series, and I don't know what happened to the Discworld series at Amazon. I know they're still working on it. At least that was the last thing I heard. Amazon's got more money than they know what to do with, and they're still working on that Lord of the Rings series that they're doing. Who knows when that's going to be worked out? I mean, granted, they're going down to New Zealand to do this, and New Zealand again does not have any restrictions going on other than they're not allowing Americans in because who wants those filthy motherfuckers in their country? I know I don't. Mork says my main is Spanish, and I can agree that the translation is sloppy. Thank you, Morks. So I'm not all that fucking bad at my listening skills on that one on Spanish. I thought I was off for a little bit, but I was like, I rewound it a little bit. I'm like, no, this is what I'm hearing, and this is what you're saying, and two different things. Yeah, yeah. I'm hearing about this series for years now. Yeah, so I know Sci-Fi did one, or Sci-Fi. I know. I think it was when it was Sci-Fi. They did a movie version of Discworld, which is horrible, or a mini series. They did a mini series, and it was just horrible, horrible, horribly bad. Um, but we'll see what the series is going to look like, or if it's even coming. Who knows? So Jason Bateman and Mark Perez, who worked, of course, together on the movie Date Night or Game Night, excuse me. Date Night was a different movie. Game Night, which is a good movie, by the way. If you haven't seen Game Night, I think it's on Netflix. Watch it. It's actually a lot of fun. They're working on a new movie called Superworld, which is set in 2038, where everyone but one man has superpowers. Um, it's going to be a comedy, of course, I think, but yeah, it sounds interesting. So the guy who doesn't have superpowers, his dad, of course, is a a superpowered being who heads up this big group, and he works in an office, the guy, and he has to go up against a corporate overlord, I guess is what it is, who can take away superpowers. So of course, there you go. Yeah, Game Night is awesome. It's hilarious. It really is, Stanley. I've watched it a couple times just because there's just stuff in it that you're just going, really? Yeah. Mark Magino says, laugh out loud. Bicycle repairman from Python has the same premise. Okay. Yeah, I guess there's a lot of premises of that out there where you die and get reborn in a different world. Yeah. So what is it? Stephen King's The Dark Tower series is all about that too. Is you die and get reborn in these different worlds and whatnot. That's how you move from world to world. Is you die and you get reborn, die and get reborn. Okay. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Superworld from Jason Bateman and Mark Perez. No word on if this is a movie, if it's going out to Netflix, or if it's going to be set in theaters whenever theaters reopen again, or if theaters ever reopen again, or whatnot. So yeah, but you know what is going to be on Amazon? Hunters 2. That's right. Hunters has been renewed for a second season over at Amazon. And if you haven't seen the first season, I recommend it. I did an entire Is It Worth My Time on Hunters season 1. And season 1's fun. It really is, even though it's some heavy subject matter too, but it's got some fun stuff in there to watch. Yeah. Oh, Mark Magino says no, it's Everyone's a Superman. Only the bicycle repairman isn't. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah. Stanley says that maybe I should finish it. I lost interest. It's good, Stanley. There's an ending to it that's it's a twist, as M. Night Shyamalan would say. No, you see the ending coming. I mean, you really do, but it's still good. It's satisfying. It's a good way it ends. Yeah. I don't know how they're gonna do a season two. Well, I kind of know how they're gonna do a season two, but there's some unanswered questions from season one as well that happen. And again, you can go back to if you go back into my Is It Worth My Time vault, Hunters is on there. I have everything set up, by the way, as libraries that you guys can go through based on, like Umbrella. What is it? Is It Worth My Time? I think Umbrella Academy has its own. Actually, it's under Netflix, is what that is. Um, different TV series as well. Krypton. Mhm. All that stuff. Just take a look in the series. Just take a look at my libraries. That's all I can say. It's there. It's organized, believe it or not. So Warren Ellis has completed writing his script for the current season of Castlevania. I believe it's season 4 that's getting ready to film, but he won't be back for future seasons. Why? Again, this goes back to what I was talking about earlier about these sexual allegations that have come up with grooming and sexual predation on younger people, and he is one of those people that is in this, caught up in this mess, and yeah, so he will not be back. I believe Netflix has gotten rid of him at this point. So I'm glad that we're getting a season 4. Uh, he does some amazing writing, but yeah, dude, if you're doing that kind of scumbag shit, see ya. Yeah. Stanley says, for me as a German, the mixture of Holocaust and campiness was strange. It's a serious topic for us. Yeah, I can understand that, Stanley. I can understand that. It's kind of like in the 70s when we had Hogan's Heroes. And can you imagine fucking pitching that show? What is it? Not even 30 years past World War II. And they're like, hey, it's a concentration camp, set in a concentration camp for prisoners of war, but it's a comedy. I would have been I would love to have been a fly on the wall seeing how that fucking thing was pitched. because still to this day, I don't understand how that thing was pitched and made it to TV and stayed as long as it did on TV. Well, I do understand why it stayed as long as it did on TV because there's not really nothing on TV at that point in time. Yeah. You actually had sign-offs and stuff like that. You know, you stopped having TV after 1 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, I can see how that is, Stanley. I can definitely see how that is. I know in Germany that it's there are different laws, there are different things that are set up. It's a different um how shall I say? Um it's viewed differently in society over there. It really is. I understand completely. Yeah. Stanley Tweedle says, I liked that show when I saw it. It was aired many years later here. Yeah, I can I can imagine that it wasn't aired exactly when it happened over here. So what else do I have here? AMC is developing the novella Sorcerers into a series. And so this novella is about a 30-year-old or 30 somosh 30-ish year old guy from Harlem who becomes a hip hop sorcerer. Okay. Um sure, AMC. Great. I I don't know. I'm reading that premise right there and I kind of scratch my head a little bit and go, I is this in the 90s? Is this set in the 90s or are you I don't know. It all I think of is Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And I think, are you gonna get some, some white writers for this as well and set it in Harlem? And yeah, I'm sorry, all the stereotypes abound when I start hearing about this. And yeah, it's not anything fun. Yeah, I know Mork says Space Force. Come on, you knew that Space Force 2 was gonna second was getting a second season. I mean, that wasn't a surprise because it had, Steve Carell and the other guy from The Office. I'm fairly sure that when they make these deals now, they say, "Yeah, we're gonna have 3 seasons off of this, whether you like it or not." They're paying enough money for it. So, yeah. But, yeah, I'm not looking forward to whatever this sorcerer thing is. It doesn't sound good. But you know what does sound good? The, Netflix series, I Am Not Okay With This. If you haven't seen it, watch the first season, it's really damn good. I Am Not Okay With This has supposedly been renewed for a second season over at Netflix, which is good news, because I wanna see how that plays out. Yeah, really wanna see how that plays out. And again, like I said, take a look in my archives. I've already done Is It Worth My Time on that one as well. Big surprise, I've done a lot of Is It Worth My Times. And, quite honestly, yeah, I don't know how many I've done at this point. I've gotta go back and take a look again and see, how many I have on there, just because I haven't kept track. I don't have it off the top of my head, I should say. Also, what's gonna be really kinda cool, so John Wick 5 has been confirmed as a go, and that's gonna be shooting back to back with John Wick 4, and John Wick 4 has a release date of 2022. 2022, yes, because Keanu Reeves has so much stuff lined up at the moment, he won't get around to, shooting John Wick 4 and 5 back to back until, I believe next year, 2021. Right now, he's filming The Matrix 4. They've just gone back into production after, of course, being shut down by the pandemic, and I don't know where they're at, on that, if they're here, if they've moved over to New Zealand or what's going on. They originally were shooting in San Francisco for a little while there, And San Francisco is mostly closed down with the pandemic going on. So I don't know where they're at now. I don't think they're in LA either. They could be in LA. Who knows? Well, John Wick 5, it'll come out before or after Avatar. It'll come out before, Stanley, because Avatar 2 will never get made. You didn't know Matrix 4 was already filming, Morks? They announced that a while ago. Yeah. Pretty much everyone's back. I think the only one that's not back is Larry Fishburne. Yeah. Mark Maginot says everything comes out before Avatar. Oh, yeah. Everything comes out before Avatar 2. Although, from what I understand, so Cameron is supposedly directing Avatar 2 through 5 right now. Yes. 2 through 5. You've heard that correctly. I don't know why. I really don't. Did anyone ask for an Avatar 2? I know I didn't. I didn't like Avatar 1. It was horrible. It was horrible. Philip Ademic says a season used to be 26 or more episodes. Now they can be 8 to 13. So 2-season deal may not be much. True. I'm glad that they've shortened seasons now, Philip. I've said this time and time again. You don't need 26 episode seasons, Agents of Shield. And you can cut them in half to 13 episodes, Agents of Shield, and still get the same oomph, if you will. I think you can actually get more oomph out of it, and you can even not even have to do 13 episodes because sometimes you don't have the material for it to have an overall arcing arc within those 13 episodes. Luke Cage, you saw that a little bit in season 2 of Luke Cage. Didn't do all that well. Iron Fist, good God, that didn't have it either. There's been others as well, Agents of Shield, that needed to be cut down to like 10 episodes, 8 episodes a season, and have it done that way. Stanley Trio says, "I know about Avatar 5, but who wants to see this?" I don't know either. Yeah. Mork says, I saw somewhere someone made a comparison between Avatar and Pocahontas and how it's super similar. Also Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest. It's the same movie, only with blue Smurfs. Yes. Philip Ademic says, I liked Avatar 1. Anything with mechs I'm going to like. We need more mech movies. You can have mech movies as long as they make sense and have a plot to them. I don't mind mech movies either, but I want some plot to it at least, and a reason for the mechs being there. You know, I really kind of need that. Yeah. What else? Like I said, there's a lot of news this week. So 2067, the movie 2067, which is the movie about the Earth running out of oxygen and people living underground or in, airlocks and all that kind of stuff. That's going to be released on October 2nd, 2020 in theaters, video on demand, and digital. There you go. So if you were jonesing to see 2067, it's coming out for you. Pacific Rim 2 was horrible. That was horribly bad. Like horribly, horribly, horribly fucking bad. Yeah. Sorry, I was gonna make a porn reference there about Pacific Rim, but I'm just gonna leave it. You guys can make your own. Philip A. Demick says, sorry, the troll and me got out. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Pacific Rim was not good. Excuse me, the second one. The first one was good. The first one actually had some good stuff to it. It could have been a little bit better, but it was still good. Rocksteady has announced a Suicide Squad game. So if you don't know who Rocksteady is, these are the guys who did Batman Arkham, the Batman Arkham games, which are awesome. So having them announcing doing a Suicide Squad game is fucking phenomenal. And they're going to have a whole panel about it at DC Fandome, which is on the 22nd of this month. And that's a Saturday, by the way. It does start at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which means I most likely am going to be moving this Saturday morning blast off to an earlier time slot. God help me if I can actually make it on time. And I'm probably going to move this to like 8 a.m. my time so that I can make the DC Fandome, which is a 24-hour. Speaking of DC Fandome, they have released a kind of a tentative schedule of people that are coming, and there's a lot of people that are coming. Now, granted, you're not going to have like Jason Momoa from Aquaman there or stuff like that, but you're going to have a TV show, DC TV show personalities showing up, DC comic writers, artists, that kind of stuff. And this is all digital, by the way. It's all free. People can come in and whoever wants to can watch it. And it's 24 hours worth. And it's not going to be that stupid shit that we got with Comic-Con with a pre-recorded bullshit with not being able to comment or anything on any of the videos or anything like that. I think DC Fandom might have learned that lesson from what happened with Comic-Con at home. Yeah. Stanley says the guys who ran Batman games into the ground. I liked the first game. I liked these the Arkham games. Yeah, the Arkham series was a lot of fun. The only thing I didn't like was having to pilot that fucking batarang around the remote batarang for certain aspects of the game. That was stupid and frustrating. Yeah. But hopefully Suicide Squad's a different thing. They actually have a really cool logo too that they've done. It's Superman, kind of, in shadow, if you will, and he's got a target on his head, but it's the Suicide Squad logo and as the target, like crosshairs, which is kind of cool. Yeah. You got more and more bored with them, Stanley? Well, to each their own. November 20th of this year, Hulu is going to drop 13 new episodes of Animaniacs. That's right, brand new Animaniacs. This is going to have Pinky and the Brain, all your Animaniacs that you have, grown to love over the decades are back. That's right, 13 new episodes all at once on November 20th. I'm not going to get Hulu for this, quite honestly. I love Animaniacs, I really do. They're hilarious, but yeah. Hello, Nurse, exactly. Yeah. Stanley Tweedle says the open world stuff was a lot of busy work. It was a lot of busy work. I never did the side missions, Stanley, on Arkham. Uh, I really didn't, unless I started doing some of the Riddler puzzles here and there, but yeah, if they were nearby. But I would never, set out just to do those. I know some people who are really fanatical about it and just went through every single thing, and I just couldn't do it. I just really don't have that kind of attention span to it, or that kind of, you know, I don't lock on to that kind of stuff and just keep doing it. It doesn't work for me. Philip Ademic says, speaking of cons, QuakeCon is this weekend. I can't bring myself to watch it, all zoomed out. Yeah, I can see that, Philip. For those of us who are on Zoom calls for work and stuff like that, just going to sit in front of the computer for another Zoom thing is kind of a little bit tough. Yeah. Stanley says, you're not OCD enough, Dennis. I know. Yeah, I'm good. I don't know if you caught that one, but sure, you can go back and rewind it, and later on you can see it yourself. Um, so that's all I got news-wise. Yeah. Like I said, there was a lot of news today. A lot of news this week. And hopefully next week as well. I'm actually surprised. I really didn't think there was gonna be this much news. But of course, it's after Comic-Con, so that's the perfect time to release all that new news. You don't want to do it during Comic-Con at home because it was all canned bullshit anyway. So yeah. So what do I have going on for the rest of this week? Well, glad you asked. So tomorrow I'm off. Monday is the season finale of Stargirl, season 1 of Stargirl. That's right. Tuesday is another episode of Is It Worth My Time? I don't know what I'm doing as of yet. I might do a throwback. I might do a series. We'll see. We'll see. Wednesday I'm off. Thursday I've got nothing going on either at the moment. I've really got to find some new stuff because it's hard to find. I might do another episode of Is It Worth My Time? I might do 2 this week. Who knows? Then, of course, Friday I'm off, and Saturday is going to be another episode of Saturday Morning Blast Off. And then, of course, that next Sunday is when Lovecraft Country starts, and I'm going to be covering Lovecraft Country. So there you go. I honestly can't get through that movie, Stanley. I've never been able to. I usually fall asleep during it. I've tried getting through. I know you're talking about the animated wizards, and oh man, that just makes me fall asleep. Yeah. Philip Ademic says more news. Marvel game is out. Miss Marvel teaches the Avengers how to be heroes. Really? Now you're just saying that? Is that the misogynist in you speaking out there? Yeah. We'll wait till the game comes out. So, although I did hear a rumor that and I'm taking this with a huge grain of salt, is that Doctor Strange 2 is going to introduce Miss America, which of course is Chavez is her name, and they're looking for a teenage girl in order to play her, and they're going to introduce her in Doctor Strange 2. So, yeah. Del Toro animated series, is he doing one? He's got like about 15,000 projects that he's attached to. He's like Quentin Tarantino. He's attached to about like 15,000 projects and he never does any of them. And he takes 5 years between projects. So not Ms. Marvel, Stanley Tweedle. This is Miss America is her name. She has super strength. I can't remember. She can make star portals. And there's something else as well. I can't remember offhand. I think she can fly. Yeah, I think she can fly. Yeah. Philip Ademic says you play as Miss Marvel and you unlock other heroes to be your psychic. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Tale of Arcadia Wizards. Oh, that's what you're talking about. The Tales of Arcadia. Okay, I saw yes, I did see that in my Netflix feed. I thought you were talking about the old Ralph Bashki Wizards movie, Stanley. You got to be a little more, you just don't say wizards, because then wizards for me is the old Ralph Bashki animated series or movie, I should say, which I can't get through. I love Ralph Bashki. I love animation, but it's really fantasy heavy and to the point where I'm just like, yeah, nodding out. Yeah. Stanley Twill says, no, that one is horrible. I tried to watch that. Yeah, it's like I said, that one goes way off into the D&D realm, like really, really, really hardcore. So I know people that swear by it, but I'm not one of those people. Philip says, I am binging an anime from anime rom-com this weekend. I have to turn in my man card. Hey, well, I'm watching cooking shows, so go figure. No, actually, what I started watching was there's the animated Iron Man series that's on Netflix right now, which is really horribly bad. It's Tony Stark as a teenager, and Rhodey as a teenager, and Pepper Potts as a teenager. They're all in high school, and yeah, it's just the animation's fucking horrendous. But I've been watching it. Yeah. Outlander. Oh, that's right. We were watching Outlander. Yeah, Stanley, you did turn in that man card a while ago. Yeah, Outlander. See, Outlander for me is the thing that ruins Stars completely. So again, I'm going to reiterate this story that I read is that the network execs at Stars, the reason why they killed Counterpart was because Counterpart had too big of a male audience, and that was not the demographic they were going for. It was a popular show. It was actually really big in the numbers and everything, but it had too much of a male demographic, did not have a female demographic, which is what they were shooting for, and that's why they canceled the series. Stupidest fucking decision I could ever think of to do is like, hey, you know what? This show's really popular. It's making us lots of money, but it's a lot of guys, and we're actually shooting to bring more women in. So instead of making more female centric shows to bring those women in, we're going to cancel this one show that's actually doing really well for us. Yeah. Sounds like the Batman high school. Are you talking about the Iron Man thing? Yeah, the Iron Man one's pretty bad. Did Black Flag have a lot of female fans? I don't even know what Black Flag is. Oh, you're talking about Black Sails? They canceled that one, Stanley. But then again, that one wasn't that great to begin with. Which, by the way, you can watch for free now someplace. I can't remember what it is. I want to say it's like Tubi or something. Yeah, it's one of those streaming services where you can watch free TV, like Pluto TV and Tubi TV and things like that. I've been watching a lot of that too. I saw a really horrible movie with John Cusack and Jackie Chan in it. Oh, wow. I only saw like 30 minutes of it, but it was fucking horrendous. I think it was called Dragon Blade. Dragon Blade, that's what it was. Dragon Blade. Wow. I mean, even the cinematography was shitty. Yeah. The editing was bad. I mean, the acting was fucking uh, if I was John Cusack, I'm hopefully John Cusack was drunk throughout the entire movie and Jackie Chan as well because that's the only way I'd be able to act in that movie. You could tell how bad it was just from the production. Philip Demick says, I want to see a Treasure Island movie with the Black Sails crew. Eh, I could see that. Dante says, surprised Netflix or Amazon didn't pick up Counterpart. I am too, Dante. It's I don't know why. That was good. I mean, it was really damn good. It really was. Stanley Twiddle says I could not finish Black Sails either. Yeah, I know. Even with all the nudity and stuff like that, I'd still, you know, because it didn't have the story for me there. Mork says I don't remember the last good Jackie Chan movie I saw. Uh, yeah, I think it might have been that first one with Chris Tucker. That might have been the last good Jackie Chan movie. Yeah, I think that was the last good one. But yeah. No superpowers in Black Flag. I don't even know what Black Flag. Are you talking about Black Sails or I don't know what Black Flag was, quite honestly. Okay, Black Sails. That's what's throwing me off, is you're saying Black Flag and I'm not following there. So no, there was no superpowers in Black Sails. Yeah. No, The Foreigner was horrible, Dante. I saw that in the theater. Um, yeah, and I didn't pay for it, let's just say, but I still saw it in the theater, and that was oof, that was bad. That was a bad movie. Black Flag is a not only an insect spray, but it's also a band. It's Henry Rollins' punk band. Yes. So with that said, I'm gonna let you guys go, but first I'm gonna plug a lot of stuff. Like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video at the very end here. If you like what you see there, hit the subscribe button down there. And up here is going to be the season finale of Doom Patrol, is what's going to be up there. And if you want to know when I'm gone live again next, hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule that's up there. I cheat it out once a week. And I also have all the links to my social media. So Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon. It's all there. Also, the links to my Facebook page and my Facebook group page, where you can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. All right. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to let you guys go. Have a good weekend. Um, yeah, stay safe, be well, and take care of everybody there. And wear your fucking masks. So don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may end up like Seth MacFarlane and having your series canceled over at Hulu, but also get a new job over at Peacock. So, not too bad. Thanks, everybody. I will see you on Monday. Until then, have a good weekend. Take care and have fun. Thanks.